Just a few days ago, Congressman Tim Scott of South Carolina said that there's no racism in America. I beg to differ with that. There's a video of a 68-year-old black woman. She was treated like she had just killed 10 people. She basically was assaulted. And now she is bringing a police department in North Carolina under a lawsuit. And what I'm about to show you, which I saw this morning on CBS News, it will make you angry, very angry. And if you don't get angry from this, then something's wrong with you. If you don't get angry from this, then you're part of the problem. If you don't get angry from this, you need to check yourself. Seriously. Here's the video.
68-year-old librarian is accusing North Carolina law enforcement officers of using excessive force against her during a traffic stop. Body camera footage shows the officers grabbing Stephanie Bottom by her hair and throwing her to the ground after she was stopped for speeding. This was back in May of 2019. Our lead national correspondent, David Begnaud, spoke with Bottom, who says she feared for her life in this incident. David, good morning to you.
Good morning to you. Stephanie Bottom was driving from Georgia to North Carolina for her great aunt's funeral when she was stopped for speeding and failing to heed to officers' blue lights. Now, the librarian says she was listening to loud music, really loud music, and she didn't realize that the police were behind her and trying to stop her. Here's what happened next, and I want to warn you, the video is disturbing. There's Stephanie Bottom, a librarian, then 66 years old and grandmother of 5, face down on the ground after being dragged out of her car.
I was running! I was just driving!
Her offenses, according to police, speeding 10 miles over the speed limit and not pulling over for officers in Salisbury, North Carolina. Stephanie, what do you think when that officer grabbed you by the hair and pulled you to the ground?
I was shocked. I was in fear. I was scared for my life. I didn't know whether they were going to shoot me. What have I done wrong?
In this body camera footage released by Bottom's attorney, an officer tells Bottom that 3 police cars have been following her for about 10 miles. They use spike strips to flatten her tires and stop her.
How? I didn't know you guys was chasing after me. I was listening to my music.
Did you see the police officers behind you with the blue lights on?
I saw them eventually, when I did look up. I was like, why are these policemen, behind me?
This happened back in May 2019 on Interstate 85 in Salisbury, North Carolina.
Pretty exciting chase here. I'm on the edge of my seat, baby.
As police pursued, one of the officers sounded pretty excited.
What's wrong with it?
Bottom's attorney, Ian Mance, says that Bottom was no threat, and law enforcement had an idea of that.
They also pull up alongside her and talk amongst themselves that this is an older black female, she's by herself. They later wrote an incident report where they said that when they pulled up alongside her, she held her hand up in a manner that suggested she was not sure what was going on.
Miss Bottom's lawsuit alleges that after the incident, the officers congratulated each other, and one even brags about grabbing a handful of dreads. Miss Bottom is suing the 3 officers who removed her from the vehicle, the sheriff of Rowan County, North Carolina, and the city of Salisbury for using excessive force. She says they tore her rotator cuff. I have a good feeling one of these officers, if not all of them, is going to watch this. What would you want to say to them?
You hurt me. You can't hurt vulnerable people. You can't force and brutalize innocent people. If I was guilty for not stopping right away or speeding, it did not call for what you did to me, and you need to be held responsible.
Ms. Bottom pleaded guilty to failure to heed to the blue lights. She was also initially charged with speeding and resisting an officer. Those charges were dismissed. Now, we reached out to the Rowan County Sheriff's Office and the 3 responding officers. We did not hear back. The Salisbury Police Department declined to comment. A spokeswoman for the city of Salisbury told us it cannot comment on pending litigation. It did previously issue a statement saying, quote, "The Salisbury Police Department strives for positive interactions with our residents and visitors."
It's hard to even say that with a straight face, David. I mean, after the video that we looked at, those officers, they still have a job on that force. I am so angry and so saddened by what I just saw.
Gail, what was most surprising to me was the attorney saying in the incident report, one of the officers says, "I pulled up on the side of her." Yeah. And she looks like she might not know what's going on. And that's an indication that they had a heads up before they ever ripped her up.
And they're laughing at her. They're laughing at her.
They did.
This is the thing, guys.
They did.
Black people are not treated with humanity in so many cases, and that's why I'm so sick of it. And I just don't know how many more stories we have to see like this. And this is the thing. This was in 2019.
Yeah.
Before all of the stories that we now know the names.
Think about if there
What were you
wasn't-
going to say, Anthony?
I was going to say, the thing that struck me was one of the first things that David said, that they believe she was going 10 miles an hour over the speed limit.
That's it.
That's what started this?
That's it.
That's it. All
Anthony,
of that leads to this?
Think if there wasn't video of
Yes.
this. She'd be telling this story for the rest of her life.
And nobody would believe her.
No, it's
Those
bingo.
cops are still working.
The
They're
cops
still walking.
knock on the
Still
window,
working.
have a conversation, ask what's going on, ma'am.
Yeah.
All right, David,
And
thank
they'd
you.
come out with guns drawn, too. That's the other thing.
They did.
After they pulled it beside and saw. I know we got to go to break. I know it.
All right, well, ahead, part 2 of our investigation.
So there's the video. You see how abusive they were. You see they were laughing and joking. And then you have people who say that systemic racism doesn't exist. It does exist. You know why it exists? Because these officers, and like Derek Chauvin, they had gotten to a point of they know that the law was on their side. They know that the law would protect them. And it's been going on since the start of this nation. They feel emboldened, they feel empowered to treat others like this. And it's not just white officers, there are black officers who do this very same thing because they have the badge, because they wear that uniform. All police officers are not like this. But yet at the same time, there is that code. There is that wall of protection. It's time to tear that wall down. How would you like it if this was your mother, if this was your grandmother being treated like this, being treated like she was dirt, being grabbed by her hair, yanked out of the car, thrown to the ground? Okay? How would you feel? Be it black or white. How would you feel? Would you get upset? Or would you give that tired excuse of, well, we don't know everything? Please, please. What if that was your relative? Would you say the same thing? That whole police department needs to come under investigation. The police department. Now, this was in 2019. If you're over that department and all footage should be seen by that particular person, then why are all these officers still on the force? They should have immediately been fired. But yet this type of situation goes on and on and on. It's time to put an end to this. The time is now.